So my name is Blanca, and I'm a social worker. I finished school in 2010, and then after I got some experience in this field in London, so that's why I can speak a little bit of English. Then after these 4 years, I moved back home and I started a master degree in human rights, and that's what I am doing. And I'm working in the same time for the Kékvonal Child Crisis Foundation, which you will hear about in a bit.
Well, I will start with the first question, and the boys, the two Adams, are going to ask you. So tell us, what is Kékvonal? What do you do there, and what is this institution about?
Okay, basically the name is Kékvonal Child Crisis Foundation. It was founded back in 1993. It was funded by a child psychologist who went to England and on a field trip and seen how these hotlines and helplines work there, and thought that in Hungary there were no low threshold services for children who may be at risk of exploitation or child abuse. So she decided to set up this organization, and basically we operate the two lines, 116111 and 116000, which are both free of charge and available 24/7 for children to call us and speak to us about anything. And if they tell us something which is concerning an issue at home, or that they are harmed or abused by their parents, then we try to do our best to help them and to channel them into the child protection system.
So what's the main purpose of the children, why they call them? So what's the reason?
Okay, so they call us for really various issues, but I think the main topic is around relationships, friendships, and love life as well, because mainly the callers are between 12 and 16 years old from the statistics, and these are the issues they are really interested in at this age. So they have a lot of questions about sexuality, which we are also prepared to discuss with them. But they also call us it's not that they call us, but we have other services like chat and email service, and they're usually topics like serious topics like sexual exploitation or domestic violence come up. So I would say that this sexual identity and sexuality is one really big topic, and relationships, and also serious problems in the family.
I have a question as well. How many calls do you receive a day? And
it's a lot. It's about 200 calls a day, but you know, sometimes these calls are, we just call them knockers. They just knock in to find out what this is for, what this number is for. They ask us, what is Kékvonal, what do you do, what kind of issues we can discuss with you. So sometimes these calls are really short, but then again, there are the longer calls which can be half an hour long, where we discuss more serious problems and issues.
It's incredible. How many people are working handling these calls? Like in one day, how many different people will be answering a telephone call?
Well, we are working with about 50 active volunteers at the organization, so we are always training new volunteers to cover the phone lines. And in a day we have three shifts: morning, early afternoon, and late afternoon. And obviously the best would be if in all shifts there could be 3 people, but sometimes we only have 1 volunteer at a time. But at the evenings, which is the busiest period, there are always 2 or 3 volunteers working simultaneously. And then there is the night, there is 1 person covering the line. the person during the night is not a volunteer. The person is a colleague or staff member.
Employee,
Yeah.
Mhm.
How many volunteers are in the whole organization?
Yes, it's about 50 or 60 volunteers we working with at a time, and as I said, we are always training new volunteers three times a year. We have a long training for the applicants.
And what's the time? So when do children call in the day?
It's the 24/7 service, so they can call us anytime basically, but
Which is the more often? So when do they call actually the more often?
what we experience that it's after the school day and before they go to sleep, so it's between like 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. more or less. That's the busiest period, and that's why we're trying to have the most volunteers working at that time of the day.
So let's say that you get a call about someone who is really in very serious trouble. What do the Kékvonal staff do then, or how is that call handled? I understand that they talk to that person, but let's say that there's a child who is really being harmed, or a child who does not have food to eat, or does not have a place to live, say, something's happening. Then what do you do, or what is the next step? How do you handle that?
So usually when they call us, they don't start straight away telling us the problem. They try to, kind of figure out how we can help them or what we can do. So we have a discussion with them. If they tell us that something is wrong at home or it's not going well, then we try and find out who are around them, what kind of social and supporting network are surrounding that child, and try to find out if there is someone who they trust and they can turn to there. And we discuss his or her options with her, whether they can talk to a family member or talk to a teacher they can trust or anyone at all. But if they have any difficulties to doing this, then we are there to help as well and to intervene. And at this time, the child can decide that he or she gives us the details, because we don't have the details from the beginning, so we need to build trust at the first time. And after she or he gives us the details, we can contact the local child protection services, and they can go and visit that family, or they can meet the child at the school. So we discuss with the child what best suits her. So after we discuss their options, we contact the local children and family center and ask a responsible person there to go and visit, a social worker to go and visit the family or meet the child at school or wherever. They can have a discussion about what's the problem in the family and how we are able to help them.
Oh, good. What a good organization. Yeah.
This is in Budapest or in whole Hungary?
It's in all Hungary, so we can receive a call from anywhere in the country, and then we speak to the local service there to find a supporter for that child where she lives.
And did you have time when you had to go out with car to the kid because the situation was so bad?
Well, this is a low threshold service, so we cannot really do that. But if the situation is so bad, for example, if there is a situation when a child calls us and says that situation is really bad at home, I cannot go home and I am here in this village sitting on a bench and I don't know what to do, then what we can do is discuss with them that there are children homes where she can go to, and we can ask a policeman to go and pick him or her up and take her to the closest place where she can be safe.
So tell us a little bit about the training that volunteers go through if they want to help out on your line? How does that work, or who holds it? What kind of information do you give to them?
Mm-hmm. So anyone can apply to become a volunteer who is above 20 years old, and we require like a CRB check,
Like a background check?
And also reference from them, and they have to complete a long interview which is available on our website. And after that we have a half-day training, like a workshop, where we can get to know each other, and after that they can also decide whether this job is for them or not, and we can also invite the ones we think are suitable for the 3 days training course we have for the volunteers. It's a theory-based training around child protection, and then after that there is a written exam. So it's quite a serious process, and then they start the practical part of the training, which is 6 occasions that they work next to an experienced counselor on the phone line, and just after that we give them a feedback, and they can start working on their own. Of course, there is a shift manager in every shift, but they are then they can work on their own after that.
So, do you have any financial problems? Because we chose this charity, so this school chose this charity to give money for this Christmas. And do other companies also help you?
It's quite a complicated thing for the foundations in Hungary to get funding for their activity and for their work. So we are partly funded by European Union projects, but those are not covering the operative costs of the organization. So we need to usually raise funds for that, and we are trying to raise funds with running events, and we are trying to involve now more and more sponsors, but we are in the beginning of this process now.
Are you also in that 1% tax?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
for
know.
that. Yes.
I know
You're
what
involved in that.
Yes, we are. So people can give us
Choose to give you 1% of their taxes.
Yeah.
Have we discussed this? Ah, that's a really good call. Okay, that's a really interesting question. Adam, will you read that?
Mm-hmm. So, what support do you have for workers who are upset by the call, and how frequently does this occur?
And you can say how frequently does this occur? Yes, that's a good question. We, as I said to you, in a shift where volunteers pick up the call, there is always a shift manager who is there to provide support and control for the people working next to the lines. So if there is a call which is really difficult to handle, then they can there and then ask the support from the shift manager. And also later on, every volunteer who works for us have an opportunity to get involved in supervision. Supervision sessions takes place once a month, and it's for the volunteers to be able to discuss the most difficult calls they handle. So they can tell, how these calls affected them, what difficulties they may had during the call. And also we have, we often have like case discussions which is a more practical. So supervision is more like a psychological kind of thing, and then the case discussions are more practical,
That was so good. Thank you so much.